So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy Ellen. I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute, man. So today, where we headed? Asia, bro. Asia. Now, just going back to what I do remember in class from the discussions of Asia. Only thing I remember, bro, is that it was the largest continent, and I think it was over half of the world's population lives in Asia. That's it. That's all I remember, bro. So I'm here to learn, obtain some information about Asia that I wouldn't otherwise discover. All right. So this video is called "What They Discovered in Asia Shock the World." All right. Have y'all ever been? Any of y'all? Anyone? You? Anyone? You? Anybody? Been? Okay. Because I haven't been either. You know what I mean? And depending on what we find here, you know, it may or may not go on my, destination list. Like I'm building a list, if you haven't noticed, by the way. All right. But if you're new to the channel, man, hit the subscribe button. Join the family. All right. Once you do that, join us. Quick little moment of silence for the haters. That's enough. Now run the likes up. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Here we go.
It's home to some of the oldest human societies known to have ever lived. To say the least, there are some incredible mysteries and archaeological discoveries turning up there.
I think it brings a whole new set of tools that are coupled to the technology to capture the site and then visualize it in here.
From a 2,000-year-old sword that still retained its sharpness and chemical integrity to ancient curses still seemingly in effect today, here are 15 of the most mysterious discoveries made in Asia. Number 15. 2,000-year-old sword. In 1965, a team of archaeologists discovered several ancient tombs located along the aqueduct of the Zhang River Reservoir in Jingzhou, China. The discovery turned up more than 2,000 relics, but none were more impressed or surprised than they were with the dubbed Sword of Gujian. This thing looks like it came out of some Japanese anime. The experts revealed the sword lying next to a human skeleton in a water-damaged tomb.
It's definitely still in good shape. We've seen some swords on this channel that have come out with the whole rustic look and very chipped, and you know what I mean? That looks like it could have been made a year ago.
The whole tomb was soaked and wet. It's not that unexpected, considering it's been soaking underwater for more than 1,000 years. When the team was finally able to free the sword in a safe place, no one was expecting to see such a well-preserved artifact, especially one made of metal. The sheath, with its black lacquer finish, provided a near airtight fit around the ancient sword, say officials, providing the sword with a suitable state of preservation. Thanks to the protection from the air, the chemical composition of the sword was nearly untarnished and retained a dangerously sharp edge. The state of preservation was revealed all the more impressive when the sword was eventually dated to the spring and autumn period of Chinese history, which ranged approximately from 771 to 403 BC. That aged this relic of a sword at around 2,500 years old and placed it in a period of epic Chinese heroes that would have used the sword, many of whom have gained mythical status in Chinese culture. This sword will only add to that notion. Now, let's get ready for today's open discussion. When it comes to the Arctic and extraterrestrial life, it comes down to two different kinds of believers. One that thinks the whole thing is ludicrous, and the other who believes somewhere in the Arctic there's proof of visitations from a time past. Since these regions are so dangerous and cold, they're widely unexplored. Even if humans could explore the Arctic, many of its secrets are frozen within the very ice that make it up. This photo clearly would have made more waves would it have been real. The photo alludes to the notion that somewhere frozen miles deep is an ancient civilization of either alien or human origin. Something drastically went wrong and their society collapsed. Is this another sci-fi tale to transcend time and space? Or is there indeed something lurking that keeps its idea forever in the imaginations of humans? Could there be a high-tech, fallen society somewhere out there in the frozen tundras? Or is it yet again another human conjuring of the unknown? Drop your thoughts in the comments to let us know what
I don't know. Stay focused. We're talking about Asia. Let's go.
you think, and don't forget to include hashtag open discussion to join the conversation. You want to know a little secret? If you smash the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell, you'll have superpowers for the rest of your life. So what are you waiting for? Time to fly. Number 14. Sichuan Alien Masca. A team of archaeologists exploring ancient ruins in southwest China were shocked to find a trove of strange artifacts and golden treasure predating the birth of Jesus Christ. Amazing, right? Among the most intriguing items recovered is a fascinating mask constructed from sheets of gold. According to the Sichuan Provincial Cultural Heritage Administration, over 500 items have been recovered from the site, with this place covers a—
What is it worth though? You made of gold, sheets of gold. What is the worth? I be wanting to know numbers. Talk numbers to me, man. I'm terrible, I know.
Held as one of the greatest finds in archaeological history. This place covers a whopping 4.6 square miles in site in Sichuan and has been dated to be formed between the 12th and 11th century BC. The latest of treasure revealed is believed to hail from the late Shang dynasty, which ruled from 1556 to 1046 BC. The head of the Institute of Archaeology reported to the Chinese press that the gold mask was not a standalone item, but was likely placed on a larger head shaped from bronze. That statue has yet to be recovered. The gold relic only weighs 0.022 pounds and measures 14.6 inches wide and 6.4 inches tall, making it light for being made with gold. Number 13. Strange spade coins. For most people, when they think of money, they think of dollars and cents. When people wish to purchase something, they use said bills and coins to equal the value of the product purchased. The notion is simple now, but when about a time where currency wasn't a thing, especially a national currency, let alone international. In ancient China, that value was represented by something much different than dollars and coins, by something that looks like an everyday tool. This ancient Chinese knife, spade, whatever tool it was used for that very purpose. Tools were very important in ancient days, so the placing of value was on more tangible things like food, water, and shelter. This is considered one of the first instances of a currency in ancient China, with the known first to be a cowrie shell. It was not until the spring and autumn period, around 771 to 476 BCE, that metal currency began to be used regularly. Metal, after all, wasn't an easy shape and mint like today. Some of the largest and most significant pieces were that of their tools and weapons. Knife, spade, and bridge money all have similar origin stories. These ancient, stylish coins were a derivative of agricultural tools that would have been bartered with. But notice numismatists and scholars call these coins or money rather than the tools they imitate.
Imagine that, bro. You never stop to think about what types of challenges they were met with back in those times, right? You know, we have, if something costs $100, it costs $100. We hand them a $100 bill, or you $20, you hand them a $20, whatever it is, right? Back then, you may have placed a value on this at this, and somebody else who you're trying to sell it to doesn't seem like it's that valuable. So you're trying to haggle, you know what I mean? You're haggling back and forth. Imagine that on a day-to-day basis. And some countries still do that. You know what I mean? Like, even with their currency. Like, you'll go up to like one of those shops or something and you'll be like, how much for this? And you give your price and you'll be like, And then y'all go through this little haggling phase back and forth. They still do it up north. When I went to purchase, matter of fact, this hat that I'm wearing, when I went to purchase this hat, I wasn't even purchasing this hat. I was getting a hoodie. And I'm getting the hoodie and the dude is like, I looked at the hat and I was like, oh man. No, matter of fact, it wasn't this hat. It was a Brooklyn Nets hat. And I looked at it and I said, oh man, I like that hat. How much is it? He told me how much it was. I was like, I'm good. I went to get the hoodie and he's like, man, I throw it in for such and such. You get that in the hoodie for this price. I'm like, He's like, what about this price? Then I bought the hat. You know what I'm saying? So imagine that on a day-to-day basis. And it's not always fun. You know, dealing with people and trying to haggle back and forth.
Number 12, India's twin town. If you were to look at the number of twins born in this zip code, you'd be forgiven for thinking there's something in the water. Some of the residents even say as much, but the mystery runs much deeper. The water has been tested and proven nothing is inducing twin pregnancies. Gandido Godoy, a tiny agricultural town in southern Brazil, has accounted for a huge percentage of the world's twin births. According to a university study, 10% of births between the years 1990 and 1994 were twins coming from here.
Wow.
That's more than 5 times the state average.
Okay, ladies. When he tell you he taking you there, just know you're coming back with 2 instead of 1.
That same study revealed that 50% of those twins were identical. Amazing, right? Clearly something bizarre is going on in the area.
Facts.
In the absence of explanation, myth and rumors fill its place. A more sinister explanation has gained some steam. 80% of residents here are of German descent. Shop fronts display German names, and antiquated German dialect is still largely dominating the area compared to Brazil's official language. According to this theory, a man by the name of Josef Mengele, a Nazi scientist referred to as the Angel of Death, is the reason for what locals are calling the Twin Revolution. The Nazi-turned-mad scientist was thought to have died near Sao Paulo in 1979, but first was reported to have visited the Candido Godoy in the 60s, where he was observed performing various obscure and mysterious tests on the locals, particularly the women who later gave birth to twins. The former mayor claimed that he went about his work under the alias Rudolph Wise and indeed conducted unfathomable experiments there after World War II had ended. Number 11. Curse of Caldera. A little 12 miles to the west of a desert town lies Caldera. The vegetation on the road to the city is minimal, and humans have all but abandoned the area. The docile straying goats have probably feasted on the last bits of human remains there. Caldera stands desolate and within an uneasy silence that can almost be heard. The village was abandoned by its people some 200 years ago after a curse had drained the land of its fertileness. During its heyday, Salim Singh, who was known for his debauchery and dishonest tax-collecting methods, set his gaze upon the beautiful daughter of the village chief. He was absolutely determined to have his girl, and he went as far as telling the other villagers if they got in his way, he would levy huge taxes on them. Fearing the wrath of the corrupt tax collector, most of the residents packed up and fled under the cover of night, leaving behind their homes and possessions within them. Caldera was abandoned by its very own people. Just imagine seeing 1,000 or so people migrating from their home. For generations now, no one knows where these people have resettled. All that's known is that before they left, they cursed the town that no one would ever be able to settle down in there again. And to this day, not one person has tried.
It looks like the curse was successful, don't you think?
Number 10. Amaranth Cave. The Amaranth Cave, found in India, is considered one of the most famous shrines in all Hinduism. That's an extensive history of religion. Dedicated to the god Shiva, the shrine is
And he was just barefooted. Y'all saw that, right?
That's an extensive history of religion. Dedicated to the god Shiva, the shrine is reported to be over 5,000 years old and plays an important role in ancient Hindu mythology. Inside the main Amaranth Cave is an ice pillar resembling the Shiva Linga, which shines during May to August and gradually dims thereafter. This lingam is reported to grow and shrink with the phases of the moon, reaching its height during the summer's festival. According to legend, this is the cave where Shiva presented herself to Parvati to explain the secret of life and eternity. There are 2 ice formations that represent Parvati and Shiva's son, Ganesha. The site is a popular pilgrimage destination for Hindus, averaging about 400,000 visits during the 45-day open season around the festival of Shravani Mela. Devotees typically hike from long ranges, some up to 60 miles away, and complete the journey in around 4 to 5 days. That's one crazy pilgrimage.
Facts.
Number 9. Western Shah Tombs. While there are a number of different types of pyramids in the world, none stand taller and more majestic than those in Egypt. All other pyramids are simply expected to try and live up to the Great Pyramids, but none manage to capture the grandiose allure. That doesn't mean they're the only fancy tombs. Other rulers were buried in extravagant tombs and vast burial sites. The West Shah imperial tombs are some of the greatest aside from the pyramids. They're shaped like giant beehives and dot the many valleys in the region. In the whole tomb area, there are 9 mausoleums along with 250 lesser tombs. The mausoleums hold the remains of the imperial leaders of the Western Shah dynasty and the lesser tombs for their aides and generals. Number 8. Angano petroglyphs. The Angano petroglyphs are some of the most fascinating petroglyphs discovered on the planet. This is actually a museum constructed on the border of the municipalities of Angono and Binangonan. The ancient petroglyphs are considered to be the oldest known display of rock art in the Philippines. There are all sorts of different subjects on the cave walls, including over 127 different human and animal figures. The wall itself is located in a shallow, sheltered area at the rear of a cave. The ancient site was...
I know somebody's looking at it and saying like, what were they doing? Or teenagers or even some adults, you know, you just sit around and you draw on paper or you doodle on paper or you just, you know, whatever on paper. That was their paper. And I know sometimes we don't think so, but they had minds just like us, bro. You know what I mean? That wanted to be creative, wanted to draw what they see, they knew. What was your famous drawing when you was in school or something? Was it the lines that turned into like the little dollar sign symbol? Was it that? Was it drawing like some person or something where you drew the abs and different things like that on the person? Or were you really, really good at drawing and you could draw pretty much anything around the classroom? That was the same thing for them.
Discovered by a national artist, and archaeological excavations were carried out soon after. 1965 revealed the first artifacts of the area that included some tools, fossil remains of a giant turtle, and ceramics that indicate the area was occupied and utilized during the Neolithic period.
It was Bart Simpson for me. I just thought about it. That's what I used to draw in school. Bart Simpson all the time. Spike hair, all that type of stuff.
And ceramics that indicate the area was occupied and utilized during the Neolithic period. Experts estimate that this means the carvings may have been created earlier than 2000 BC, putting the age of the human petroglyphs at more than 4,000 years old. Number 7. Metal fireworks. If you didn't know, China was the first to invent fireworks. Back then, they required extensive work and craftsmanship to create, a clear opposite to today's inexpensive and easy fireworks. Still,
I gotta see that again. So all I keep thinking about is like the Michael Jackson Pepsi commercial.
First to invent fireworks.
As he's throwing it over top of his head.
Back then, they required extensive work and craftsmanship to create, a clear opposite to today's inexpensive and easy fireworks. Still,
I want to do that, though. I want to do that. That looked dope, bro. I want to do that. One more time, y'all. Bear with me.
To create, a clear opposite to today's inexpensive and easy fireworks. Still, in some villages, the art of firework making has been passed down from generation to generation. This means their fireworks are something magical and more technologically advanced than over-the-counter versions. Over 300 years ago, blacksmiths began their own explosive tradition to celebrate Chinese New Year. With fireworks in mind, blacksmiths would heat metal scrap to temperatures above 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. On a cold winter's night, they would scoop the molten iron and fling it at tall stone walls. Upon making contact, the molten iron would explode into thousands of sparks, creating an effect similar to fireworks. The annual festival of lights that formed around this unique tradition is called Da Shihua, which means tree flower. It's become a lasting tradition that's still only practiced in small villages. Villagers still save up scrap metal to donate for the annual celebration.
Now, I do that. Watch, the one time I do it, it'll be the one time I set the entire neighborhood on fire. Like.
Number 6. The Butterball. According to legend, the giant rock you see on screen magically stopped its descent on this balancing point.
Wow.
As you might have guessed, a boulder this size rolling down any hill won't stop for just anything, save for causing some major destruction in its path. So how the heck did this rock stop like this?
It's probably some little pebble of a rock holding it right there. I guarantee. We thinking it's something crazy that's holding it, something strong. It's probably like a little pebble.
Even scientists are
just positioned so right that it caught it.
Baffled how the whole thing formed. The massive boulder is assumed to be a glacial erratic that got stranded in a chance position on the hill during the last ice age. However, folklore tells a very different tale. According to Hindu myth, when the great god Krishna was just a baby, he was fond of stealing butter from humans. He adorned the thrill of the hunt and the taste. Following the trend into adulthood, the deity is said to have dropped a massive dollop of pilfered butter on his mischievous journeys, and the butterball is that dollop. Hence where the local name of Van Arai Kal, translated to sky god stone, originates. According to one source, the more playful name was given to the rock by an entertaining tour guide who had been showing off the stone for 20 years, and the name stuck. Number 5. Black eggs of Japan. Legend holds eating just one of these black eggs can add 7 years to one's life, since no one knows it.
They would say that as I'm shaking my head no, because I'm thinking that like that is gonna just make me poop my stomach outside of my body. You know what I mean? A black egg? Nah, it just seems a wee bit rotten to me. Now they're gonna say one of those can add 7 years to your life. That's crazy.
Eating just one of these black eggs can add 7 years to one's life. Since no one knows exactly when they'll die, it's hard to determine what number that might mean. Owakudani, which translates to the Great Boiling Valley, can be found in the mountain town of Hakone. One can take a tram up to the hot springs or walk up the near 1 mile path. On good weather days, either route delivers spectacular views of the majestic Mount Fuji. Once the springs are reached, kuru tamago, or black eggs, can be purchased 5 at a time. No more and no less. The eggs are your ordinary chicken's eggs, but the shell turns black due to being boiled in the hot sulfur spring. The rich minerals found in the spring dye the shell and permeate the egg with further nutrition. Local traditions say that for each black egg eaten, 7 years is added to one's life, but that may just be an excuse to sell them at 5.
Right, because, and I ain't trying to, I'm definitely not trying to talk down on anybody's tradition or nothing like that. Y'all know I'm not disrespectful or nothing. But they were originally white eggs that you dipped in. It didn't come black. So it's like, can it really do that though? And at that point, okay, once you add, like, at what point do you stop adding years to yourself after 2 eggs? Like, I need more info.
At a time instead of a dozen for the same price, if not more. Others have chimed in to say that eating more than 2 is not a good idea. About 3,000 years ago, Mount Hakone erupted, leaving the hot spring-filled crater where it still stands today. All along the path to the egg vendor are active sulfuric geysers, which can be hazardous at certain times during the year. The area is prone to landslides due to constant volcanic activity, so if you're thinking about going, you best be prepared for anything. Number 4. Ancient Wall Slide. Why walk the ancient Great Wall of China when you can speed across it in a bobsled-esque car? Well, now you can. While it's true that millions of people dream of ever setting foot on the wall, there are other, not so known about ways to enjoy the wonder as well. Tourists can choose whether to experience the wall in the traditional form by walking or by whizzing down it in a luge. Most visitors flock to the easily accessible bedaling segment, where they can walk the length and get a good perspective of its massive scale. If you've done that or already just want to experience the wall in a different way, you'll want to check out this attraction, and it's just 2 hours north of the most touristy section of the wall. After ascending to the top, you can return to the base by rocketing down a steep, winding slide that offers unique views of the wall and surrounding vegetation along the way. An experience like that can't be found anywhere else in the world, including the other sections of the Great Wall. Number 3. Stunning Sky Sanctuary. Standing like 3 stars atop a pine tree of limestone, Thailand's legendary floating pagodas are easily among the world's most spectacular temples. The way they've stood so sturdy atop the mountain is impressive. If you've yet to hear of this marvelous place, feast your eyes on this dazzling sight. Located near Chiang Mai in northern Thailand, this sanctuary looks more like the handiwork of Disney World adventure creators than reality. Rest assured, these mystical pagodas in the sky are the real deal and have been shocking humans with their wonder for thousands of years. The temple complex comprises a golden pagoda, prayer hall, and clutch of white stupas clinging magically to the limestone pinnacles miles above the valley floor. Few tourism locations offer sites like this, so it'll take a bit of digging to get there. Number 2. Mysterious Jars of Laos. Are they alien eggs from James Cameron's film? Is it a massive food pantry? The Plain of Jars, or Jars of Laos, is just as it sounds. A huge stretch of land dotted with hundreds of large stone jars throughout the Jiangquang region, located in the Lao Highlands. The jars have been fashioned with sedimentary rock and ranging from 3 to 10 feet in height and can weigh up to 14 tons each. Yeah, these aren't the type of jars you bring with you over your neighbor's house. These are the kinds that aren't moving for thousands of years, as evidence exemplifies. When these jars were constructed, they weren't going anywhere. Heck, even to this day. The exact and reasoning for the jar is still unknown, though archaeologists are inclined to believe that they were utilized between 1500 and 2000 years ago for food preservation. That's quite a shelf life for something as simple as jars. Another theory suggests the jars may once have served as funeral urns, which could have stood as a valuable place in society all those years ago. As local legend would tell it, these jars were created by Khun Chung, the ancient king of giants. Number 1. Iron Pillar of Delhi. When you first walk up to this pillar, it might not...
I don't know why I thought I was about to say Iron Pillar of Death. My bad.
Iron Pillar of Delhi. When you first walk up to this pillar, it might not seem that magical, but a little investigating reveals something otherworldly. The Iron Pillar of Delhi exemplifies the remarkable ability and technology of ancient humans in metalworking. That goes far beyond what we even understand today, let alone all those years ago. The extremely slowly rusting pole found in the middle of an empty square in Delhi, India has been dated to around 1600 years old, much older than the degradation of the pillar would suggest. Iron is a known rusting metal, so the ancient society that constructed the pillar had some impressive knowledge of rust proofing. Even when constructing iron like this wouldn't be prolific on the earth for hundreds of years later. Even modern humans today have yet to create such an effective rust preventive system, so mad props to the ancients. Scientists are still spinning their heads trying to imitate their work. It's barely rusted since it was constructed all those years ago, and has become a mystery, leading some experts to include the Iron Pillar in a group of objects known as OOP arts, or out-of-place artifacts. These classified objects are said to be unreasonably futuristic for their time of construction.
Wow.
Asia is home to some of the most ancient stories and relic of human history. It's no wonder archaeologists love to excavate there, and they never know what they might turn up, as evidenced by this list. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, them fireworks crazy. That was crazy. I just can't stop thinking about the Michael Jackson Pepsi commercial. But anyway, man, listen. You know how your cell phone, you be talking about something, and then all of a sudden you start seeing these little advertisements and different things for the stuff you're talking about? Watch. I've never heard about a black egg, right? Never in my life heard of a black egg. I'm gonna find it or see it or hear about it sometime soon. Watch. You know what I mean? Easter just passed. If I'd have known this before Easter, I'd have showed up at somebody's Easter egg hunt with all black eggs, bro. They'd be like, what did you do? Are you a sicko? No, I'm trying to add years to everybody's life, fam. Just let me do. I got it. You know what I'm saying? They'd have been mad at me. But that's the type of stuff I do. So anyway, y'all get at me in the comment section, man. Let me know what you thought of this video. Super, super informative, as always. Y'all get at me in the comment section. It's your boy L. Till the next one, I'm gone. Peace.